If something is really cheap, that normally means it really sucks. That's just the laws of nature. I didn't make that up. Today we test that theory by looking at 10 cities with suspiciously cheap real estate. You're not going to hear about Seattle real estate, Fort Lauderdale real estate, or even the Florida Keys real estate. These are cities you won't find that have hot air balloons advertising new real estate opportunities. These are places where home prices are so low, they sort of sell themselves. I mean, if you can get past all their baggage they're carrying. So that's what we're doing today. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne is a hidden gem for those who enjoy housing and the kind of excitement that comes with, well, unforeseen home repairs. The real estate here offers a lot of homes that look like they haven't seen human touch since, I don't know, Y2K. But that's just part of the charm, I guess. Fort Wayne's real estate is pretty low, and a lot of that has to do with a majority of the homes that are for sale are older and, they're fixer-uppers. They really haven't had much new construction until recent years. They're lagging way behind, especially for a city that's gaining popularity. Normally, when there's a housing shortage, real estate prices shoot through the roof. They're one of the highest ones on this list, but they're nowhere near the national average. According to Zillow, that's $359,000 right now as the national average. In Fort Wayne, you get a whole lot of square footage for shockingly little money. The home might come with a family of raccoons that are also shockingly resistant to eviction. Buying in Fort Wayne is a little bit like joining a treasure hunt. You're guaranteed a good price, but whether the treasure comes with functioning plumbing is anyone's guess. The good news is you get to tell all your friends you're a homeowner. You just got to leave out the part where you tell them about all the extensive repairs you have to do. Embrace the mystery and prepare for a crash course in DIY. Now, one thing you always have to look at when you're trying to figure out why the prices are so low is the crime rate. It's not bad. In Fort Wayne, it's only 14% above the national average. When I say that, it normally leads to a bunch of people with a lot of unrealistic expectations of the world. Just because it's a little above average doesn't mean it's terrible. There's cities in this country that have crime rates above 400% above the national average. So getting to the bottom of why Fort Wayne is so cheap, a majority of the homes for sale are older. Need some work. The average home value in Fort Wayne, Indiana in October of 2024 is $229,000. Number 9, Rochester, New York. I got a lot of family in Rochester. They seem to like it. But welcome to Rochester, where your housing budget goes farther than the endless snowstorms. Here, you can own a whole house for less than the average person in Silicon Valley makes in a year. That's right, an entire residence with walls, windows if you're lucky, and a deep-rooted history in each creaky floorboard. They got a lot of old homes here. It's just the snow is all the time. It's like living in Michael J. Fox's snow globe. Rochester's charm lies in its affordability and local character, though the latter might be the charming draft that comes through your old wooden windows. While the heating bills might require a second mortgage, the actual price of the house is refreshingly low. Just remember, shovels are cheap and you're going to need one. So why is Rochester so cheap? Well, it's the older homes, and again, it's going to be the weather. Snow, a lot of snow. The average home value in Rochester, New York is $220,000. Number 8, Wichita, Kansas. Wichita offers homes so cheap you'll wonder if the realtors are actually pulling a prank on you. The prices here are low, and it's obvious when you look at all the listings. They say things like, need some TLC, perfect for DIY lovers, now squatter free, which is all realtor code for you might want to bring a hammer, coveralls, and maybe someone that knows their way around the construction industry. Living in Wichita means joining a city with small-town charm and houses that come with a cozy touch of rustic flair. Sure, the paint might be peeling, and there's a chance that the previous owner died here. But who doesn't love some challenges? It's a Midwest rites of passage, and a cheap one at that. So why is it so cheap? Well, this place doesn't have the best stats. Their commute time is horrible. They've got some violent crime, which is 152% above the national average, and their schools are graded an F, and area vibes. That might play a big part in it. The average home value in Wichita, Kansas is right around $197,000. Number 7, Syracuse, New York. Syracuse is another upstate New York city where homes are priced like they're on clearance. For less than the cost of a weekend at Disney World for a Mormon family with 8 kids, you could have your down payment for a house in Syracuse. But before you tell Jeremiah and the rest of the kids that Disney is canceled, keep in mind you're paying for real estate with endless snowfalls and wind chills that could bite harder than a pit bull. Syracuse homes come with opportunity. That's what they always say in the listings. But you'll have the opportunity to invest in quality insulation and snow shovels. If you're okay with long, frosty winters, then this city could be your dream bargain destination. Just remember, the real expense might be keeping the icicles at bay and your heating bill under control. So why is it so cheap? Well, it's going to be the cold and the crime. Most of their stats are decent, but their violent crime rate is pretty high. It's actually 142% above the national average. And it gets cold, and it gets cold for a long time. For those of you in Southern California, New York cold for a long time is like 6 months. I know in Southern California, like San Diego and Los Angeles, cold is like 4 days under 55 degrees. The average home value in Syracuse is about $195,000. Number 6, Erie Penn. I was in the army with a guy from Erie Penn. That's how he's called, Erie Penn. Had this weird accent. I had to extend a law rocket on his ass and hit him with it. Yeah, you know the dummy, well, most of you haven't been in the military, but they give you training, law rockets, and you have to open them up to fire them. Me and him got in an argument, and I opened mine up and hit him with it one time. Don't know whatever happened to him. Anyway, welcome to Erie, where the lake is lovely and the houses are suspiciously affordable. In Erie, it's entirely possible to buy a house for less than it costs to buy an apartment in a really bad neighborhood in New York City. Erie, Pennsylvania does have some charm. It's just too bad Erie's charm is more of a chilly, foggy romance where houses are cheap and often include a basement that you'll only enter at daylight. Erie's real estate market feels like a throwback to yesteryear, with charming homes ready for new owners. The houses here are practically begging for some attention, and you'll probably be the first one to give it any in a few decades. So why is Erie Penn so cheap? We got a lot of older homes that need some work, and it's very cold. The average home value in Erie, Pennsylvania is $181,000. Number 5, South Bend, Indiana. South Bend kind of snuck up on me a few years ago. I didn't know much about it, been through there, didn't really stop, didn't really check it out. And then when I started doing this channel, I started reading up on it, and then I went there and I realized, hey, this place sucks. In South Bend, it's almost like they're giving houses away. Want a 3-bedroom house for the price of a decent mattress? Look no further. Like so many other places on this list, they're not exactly move-in ready. Hidden gem is not a phrase you hear a lot when describing homes in South Bend. Living in South Bend means what you're saving on your mortgage payment, you're probably going to spend at the hardware store. South Bend's real estate market has the affordability factor in spades, but with a little dash of reality. You might get a little more character, quote unquote, than you bargained for here. That's another real estate thing. They always put up their character. In other words, got a lot of old crap going on in the house that you're probably going to have to fix. But hey, at least you get to tell your friends you own a home in Indiana. So why are the homes here so bad? Well, this city does not have great stats. I mean, other than the cost of living and housing is pretty affordable. Their commute time is pretty bad. Their crime rate isn't horrible, but it's not good. Their employment numbers are bad. Their schools are graded an F by Area Vibe. The average home value in South Bend, Indiana is about $180,000. Number 4, Scranton, Pennsylvania. Last time I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, I just drove around to see what it was like. I wasn't in the best neighborhood, and I saw a man come running out of a house with a woman chasing after him, and she was angry. He was running. He was putting some distance between him and her. I don't know how that ended, but it looked like they were pretty angry, or at least she was. But Scranton is the ultimate budget-friendly city for fans of The Office. Remember the show The Office? Yeah, they use Scranton as the backdrop. But here you could live the dream of owning property on a warehouse worker's salary. Homes here are priced to move, and you'll get a lot of house for a little money, mostly because it's been around since the coal mining days. Scranton's housing market has potential written all over it. And okay, it also means it needs a lot of TLC. For those with a modest budget and a high tolerance for vintage fixtures, Scranton offers real estate that could make a fun renovation YouTube channel. Just be prepared for the real estate, their lingo. This one's got good bones. That's my favorite. They're basically saying, I know the house looks like crap, but what you can't see is really good. And I have no way of proving to you that it is good. Basically, it translates to, you're going to need a hard hat and a vision. Reason it's so cheap? Scranton doesn't have the best stats, and a lot of the homes here also are very old. The average home value here is around $173,000. Number 3, Macon, Georgia. In Macon, you could score a house for the price of a decent pair of seats at a celebrity boxing match between Taylor Swift and Mr. Beast. This southern city offers beautiful old homes with that classic Old South charm, or at least the remnants of it. Sure, you might have to deal with a few cracked walls, a roof that has natural skylights, and the occasional character-building creak in the floorboards, but that's what makes it such a steal. Macon is a steal for the brave-hearted renovator who dreams of restoring old southern glory without breaking the bank. Just be prepared for some surprises along the way, like discovering that historic plumbing is code for "I hope you love cold showers." But hey, where else can you find a front porch for sipping sweet tea that costs less than a high-end phone? So why is it so cheap in Macon? Well, they don't have the greatest stats, their employment numbers suck, their schools get graded an F by area vibes, and they got some crime. Not a lot of crime, but it's not great. And again, you've got a lot of old homes that are run down here. The average home value in Macon, Georgia goes for $166,000. Number 2, Akron, Ohio. Akron's real estate market is a treasure trove of affordable opportunities for anyone willing to overlook little structural shortcomings. Here, a small budget can get you a sizable home with a questionable foundation, but plenty of potential. Don't be surprised if some of the houses you view come with the vintage wallpaper and some mysterious spots that may or may not be mold. Living in Akron means you'll be part of a city that's seen its share of economic ups and downs, and the houses reflect this history. But if you're up for expending a little elbow grease, you could score a charming home with lots of character in Akron, Ohio. It's an unbeatable price for people willing to get their hands dirty or at least hire someone who will. Akron, like so many other cities in this part of the country, they're dealing with some employment numbers and some poverty issues. A lot of the houses are old and run down, and that's why it's so cheap. The average home value in Akron, Ohio is about $132,000. All right, before we get to number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and leave me a comment in the comment section below. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Youngstown, Ohio. Yep, staying in Ohio, and this one's gonna blow you away. Youngstown boasts prices that scream, "Buy now, worry later." The perfect slogan for anyone looking for a starter home with a few surprises. This former steel hub has a housing market that's basically on liquidation sale prices. And if you like a little mystery in your real estate, it's a match made in budget heaven for you. But you're not just buying a house in Youngstown, you're buying a slice of history and possibly a fixer-upper's dream. You'll find hardwood floors beneath peeling carpet and all sorts of original features. That just means everything here's a blast from the past, and you're gonna have to pay to get it fixed. This is the poster child for suspiciously cheap for a reason. So why are they so cheap? Well, probably because they haven't had work in this city in quite some time. I mean, at least on a mass scale. Their unemployment rate here is like 53% above the national average. And their poverty rate is 34.9%, meaning over a quarter of the city lives below the poverty line. The national average is 15.1%. More than double the national average. That's why these homes are so cheap. Nobody living here can actually afford one. They do have some crime, not the worst we've seen on this list. Youngstown's a great place for people from Detroit to go to feel better about their current situation. There's a stat some of these companies track called opportunity, and it's like, what's the future look like? What are your job prospects? What are the schools like? All those stuff. They kind of combine it together and they go with opportunity. Youngstown has one of the lowest scores I've ever seen. And that's why Youngstown is so cheap. Zero opportunity, bad stats, and rundown homes. The average home value in Youngstown, Ohio is around $60,000. That's right, the average American can almost buy a house outright in Youngstown, Ohio on what they make a year. All right, that's today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you probably like one of the 2 videos being suggested right now. Everyone have a great day. Be nice to each other.